Hello friends, in the last two videos we discussed about sex chromosome and sex determination and also sex-linked inheritance. The link is given in the description. Today we are going to discuss about pedigree analysis. What is pedigree? It is a chart that displays any family tree and shows inheritance of a phenotype or a trait that is controlled by a particular gene from one generation to the next generation. Using this pedigree analysis, we can get the idea of the inheritance of any disease or any trait from one generation to the other generation. It consists of symbols and lines. Here, male is represented by square, female by circle. Colored symbols means the individuals are affected. This symbol, circle with a dot inside, shows the carrier female. That is, female is not affected, but it is carrier. It carries the disease or any trait from one generation to the other generation. Line between this male and female shows the marriage between them or the mating. And if these symbols are crossed by the diagonal, that means these are dead. Vertical line shows the offsprings. This is the parental generation, these are the children, and older offspring to the younger offsprings are arranged from left to right. The generations are shown by the Roman numerals. Older generations are at the top, younger generations are at the bottom. This type of symbol shows that sex is unspecified, that is, the offspring is unborn. And when these two symbols are joined by the two lines, it means mating between relatives, maybe cousin or any distant relative. So, using this pedigree, we study different types of inheritance, and this is known as pedigree analysis. So, first is autosomal recessive inheritance, the study of the inheritance of any trait that is regulated by the recessive autosomal gene. And this type of the inheritance skip generations, that is, this type of this trait occurs in one generation, then does not occur in the next generation, then again it occurs in the third generation, and so on. Number of the males and females affected are equal because these are controlled by the autosomal genes, not by the sex-linked genes. If both the parents are affected, all children are affected. Suppose this is the recessive allele that is responsible for any disease. Parental generation, both are affected, both are homozygous for this recessive allele, because this recessive allele is expressed only in the homozygous recessive state. So both the parents are affected. The offspring which we get are also all affected. Unaffected individual which mates with affected ones, then all the children are unaffected. Suppose in the parental generation, one of the individual is unaffected and it mates with or mating takes place with the affected ones. Then all the individuals are heterozygous for this allele, and these are all unaffected. Because the disease is caused by this recessive allele, it is only expressed in the homozygous recessive state. Here all the offsprings are in the heterozygous state. One dominant allele and one recessive allele is present. Expression of this recessive allele is masked by this dominant allele, and so all the children, all the offsprings are unaffected. So when there is mating with unaffected individuals with affected one, we get all the offspring unaffected. But sometimes it happens that one of the child is affected. In that case, the unaffected individual is heterozygous and it mates with the affected ones. This is unaffected, this is affected. In that case, we get half of the individual unaffected but heterozygous and half of the individual affected. It may happen that affected children have unaffected parents, and this happens when two heterozygous individuals are crossed. This is unaffected parents, and the offspring which we get unaffected homozygous, unaffected heterozygous, and this one is, these are unaffected and this is affected child. So here this affected offspring is obtained from the unaffected parents. Second is the autosomal dominant inheritance. Here this trait does not skip generation, that means trait or disease occurs in every generation. If there is mating between affected individual and unaffected individual, then in that case 50% offsprings are affected. Suppose this is the dominant allele which is responsible for any trait or any disease. Parental generation, if it is affected and heterozygous, that is one dominant and one recessive allele is present. This one is affected individual. It is crossed with the unaffected, which is homozygous recessive. Then F1 generation which we get, half is affected offspring and half are unaffected. But if the affected individual is homozygous, it means in the parental generation homozygous affected individual is crossed with the homozygous unaffected. So this is affected and this is unaffected. F1 generation that we get are all affected. These are heterozygous and affected. So if the affected individual is homozygous, then all the offsprings are affected. And since here the inheritance is of autosomal dominant gene, hence it occurs in both male and female equally, or male and female are equally affected. Third is sex-linked recessive inheritance. It is the inheritance of X-linked recessive gene. In this case, affected individuals are mostly male. We know that male has one X chromosome and one Y chromosome. And the recessive allele is present on the X chromosome. This recessive allele is expressed in the homozygous state, but here only one X chromosome is present. So this recessive allele shows pseudo-dominance, and hence in this case the male is affected. So male is affected only in the presence of one copy of recessive allele, but female is affected, or the recessive allele expresses itself in the female if it is in the homozygous state, because it is X chromosome. Hence affected individuals are mostly male. Affected males results from affected or carrier mother. If the mother is affected, then it has 2 copies of recessive allele. Here the father is unaffected. This is the cross between them. Female or daughter receive 1 copy of X chromosome from mother and 1 copy from father. Father is unaffected. So both the daughters have only 1 copy of the recessive allele. In order to express it, it should have 2 copies of recessive allele because there are 2 X chromosome. So the daughters are carrier, but these are not affected. Son or the male receives X chromosome from mother. So all have the recessive allele on the X chromosome. There is only 1 copy of X chromosome. So it expresses itself, and hence males or the sons are all affected. If mother is carrier, means there is 1 copy of recessive allele present and father is unaffected. In that case, one of the daughter is carrier and one is unaffected, and half of the son is affected, half unaffected. So half of the son or the male is affected and half unaffected. Affected daughter or female results from the cross between affected father and affected or carrier mother. Because female or the daughter obtain 1 X chromosome from father and 1 X chromosome from mother. If mother is affected, father is also affected, then in that case all the daughters are affected and all the son are affected, because here all the X chromosome has a copy of recessive allele. So all affected. If mother is carrier, that means it has recessive allele only on 1 X chromosome and father is affected. In that case, one of the female is affected and one is carrier. One of the male is affected and one is unaffected. If females are affected, approximately all the sons are affected. Here female is affected but male is unaffected. So daughter receive 1 X chromosome from mother and the other from the father. So all the daughters has only 1 copy of recessive allele and these are carrier. But son receives X chromosome from mother. So all the sons are affected. And if female is carrier and male is normal, then recessive allele is present in only 1 X chromosome. One of the daughter is carrier and the other is unaffected. Half of the son is affected and half are unaffected. So seeing this type of inheritance in the pedigree chart, we can conclude that it is the inheritance of the X-linked recessive gene. Example of sex-linked recessive inheritance is hemophilia and color blindness. Now the fourth is sex-linked dominant inheritance. That is the inheritance of the dominant gene present on the X chromosome. Because the allele is dominant, so trait is expressed in all generations. It does not skip generation. If the mother is affected and homozygous, that means if the dominant allele is present in both the X chromosome, then all the children are affected. This is mother. It has dominant allele in both the X chromosome, and this is father. So here all the children has at least one of the X chromosome having dominant allele, or all the children has at least one copy of the dominant allele. Hence, all are affected. If mother is affected and heterozygous, that means only one copy of dominant allele is present. Father is unaffected. In that case, half of the children are affected because half of them receives the X chromosome having the dominant allele and half are unaffected. Male or the son is affected if the mother is affected, because male has one X chromosome and one Y chromosome, and this X chromosome is received from mother. Hence, if the mother has the X chromosome having the dominant allele, then male or the son receives this X chromosome and hence the male is affected. If female is affected, we know that female has two X chromosome. If the female is affected, then either father is affected or mother is affected, because female receives one X chromosome from father and one X chromosome from mother. So if father is affected, then also one copy of the dominant allele is present on the X chromosome, and if mother is affected, in that case also at least one copy of the dominant allele is present in the X chromosome. Hence, in both the cases, female will be affected. If father is affected, that is X chromosome has the dominant allele for the trait, mother unaffected, then all the daughters are affected and sons are unaffected, because daughter receives one X chromosome from father and the other from the mother. So one of the X chromosome has the dominant allele for the trait. Hence, all the daughters are affected. But male receives, or the son receives, only X chromosome only from mother. And the mother is unaffected, so it receives the X chromosome which does not has the allele for the trait. Hence, all the sons are unaffected. This is all for pedigree analysis. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share it and subscribe my channel. Thank you.